Hey, welcome back to the party, everybody. Mark Price here with DevSlopes.com. And previously, this is what you saw us do. We imported some models, some objects, textures, and it's here in our project. Now, we have a few problems, though. First off, Haunted Zombie Rush, do you think it should be nice and bright and blue outside? I mean, this looks like a happy, a happy hell, okay? I don't think hell is very happy. We need to make it a little bit more gloomy and dark, I think the default settings for Unity is just kind of screwing that up for us right now. If you notice, our scene came with a directional light, okay, which I can turn on and off. Now maybe you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, how come when I turn off the only light in the entire scene, there's still light outside? Now, turning it off did help. It makes it look more dusk, you know. It's about to get more creepy, but we're still not quite there. And here's the reason why. Brand new projects come with a default skybox, okay? And I don't think we want a skybox, and I don't think we want the directional light. We're going to start it off pitch black, which would make more sense, I think. And also, let's talk about what we want to do. We want to make it like a Flappy Bird game, so we want to have this cool background scenery, maybe with the dungeon, that mouth-looking monster Stonehenge stuff, and then we want a foreground that's actually going to move. And so there's a little bit of playing around with things that we're going to need to do. And also, one more thing. One important part about game development is it is not a science. Like, it is, but it isn't. Like, there's a lot of art and creativity that goes into it, especially if you're an individual programmer or an indie programmer. You're going to have to do a lot of that stuff on your own. Okay, so you're going to see us fiddling around things and moving things, okay? So if you're the kind of person who's like watching these videos and expecting everything to be perfectly moved here to this coordinate and quadrant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you got to get that out of your head. Game development is not like that at all. It is in certain degrees when you're hard coding in some very important things like grid systems and other types of math. But for the creativity part inside of it, that's a whole different portion of the brain, and it takes some practice. So we're going to do it the way it should be done in a game development scenario. We're going to actually fiddle with things and make it look perfect. So you can see the real deal here. All right, so I've turned off this directional light. I just don't want it. Okay, maybe we'll delete it later, but I'll leave it there for now. The skybox is causing us a problem as well. So if we go over here to our window, okay, and go to lighting, I'll pull it over here on the screen. Okay, in our scene here, we have a skybox. That's how you get to it. Okay, it wasn't in the scene. It's actually here in the settings, which is really interesting. And there's an ambient source from that skybox. So you can change it around. Okay, you may not have other skyboxes, which we may not have in this project at all, and I don't think we do. So you can just say none. Okay, now notice how over here in the scene, there's nothing there. Okay, it's all black. And that's what we want. We want it all black. We don't want any lighting. And don't mind this blue, because the blue is just the background of the scene. And we don't want to see that either. But it's good that it's all black, okay? So see this button here in the scene? This is the lighting. And this shows you what it's going to look like in the end. We're going to turn it off so we can actually see what's going on. And then we're just going to move some things around, okay? So this is looking really good, kind of. In fact, maybe what we'll do just for now is we will turn on the directional light back on just so we can see the game down here too, so we can see what's going on with the camera. See? That's why we didn't get rid of it, because we needed to use it. Okay, so main camera. All right, so we got a main camera here, and see where it's facing. It's facing out that way. It's facing the complete wrong way, or rather our model is going the wrong way here in the demo scene. So what I'm going to do is press E after selecting this object and hold down Command or Control to rotate it by with snap mode on, so it rotates perfectly. I think that did it. Oh no, I rotate. Yeah, I did. That's perfect. Okay, as you can see, the mouth is right there in front of you, and I'm going to click that demo scene, press W, and I'm not holding Control this time. That rotation's not. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to get the look that I want, and I'm going to go rotate it again some more. Yeah, our camera's just not in a great spot just yet. Or rather, our scene isn't. So I'm just going to, between the camera and the scene, I'm just holding down Alt to rotate it here. I'm going to click our demo scene again, and it's just not quite getting there yet. Let's move it this way. in this way and move it back a little bit because I want this to be the far background. I'm just rotating E, W to go into the move mode here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be what you want, what looks good to you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping away on these blocks here. There's some things behind us in the camera that we're not seeing, and so there's no point in having them in the scene and wasting precious, graphics and processing power. Although Unity is optimized to not render things that are not on the screen, it's better to get rid of them. So what I'm going to do is the things that are behind the camera, I'm just going to delete, okay? And I can do that. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the lava too. I'm going to hold down Control or Command Delete. Yes, I want to break the prefab, and I'm just going to hold down Shift and start selecting a bunch of things. In fact, you can highlight things as well too, like this, by clicking and dragging and holding Shift, and then Command or Control Delete / backspace. And we're gonna slowly chip away to see all this stuff that's back here that we don't even need. The camera's way up here, but all this stuff is right here that we don't even need. So let's just delete it. Okay, just getting rid of stuff. Keep checking where the camera is. Yeah, I don't think we need this. In fact, I can zoom in here and hold down press Q to move, go into pan mode, and then W to select. And I just want to get rid of some things that I don't think we're going to need. All this stuff. And if you're wondering why I'm using this demo scene, it's because I don't want to take the time to rebuild all this. BitGem has done a fantastic job in organizing these assets and making them look pretty. And so I'm going to use what's at my disposal. And this is a very common technique. Us programmers who are not as creative as the other ones need to do stuff like this sometimes to get a head start. Okay, so this is coming together. Some of these things are not very optimized. Like, look at this chain right here. That's probably not good for mobile. Okay, none of these chains are. They look good though for now. And since our game is so simple, it's probably okay. And let's take a look at our camera here. Yeah, we still got some things that we don't need. And I'm not going to make this perfect, okay? You can, if you want, make everything perfect where anything that's behind the camera is not showing. I'm not going to do that, and the reason why is for sake of time. I've taught you what to do and how to get rid of these things, and we'll call it good from there. Okay, so it's kind of coming together here. Looking good, okay? Let's go just play with our camera a little bit here. Yeah, and a couple things to note about the camera now. The camera has a couple options. Right now we're in perspective mode, and notice how the background here is blue. Okay, we can also change this to orthographic, and look what happens in the game scene. Okay, you're like, what is going on here? Like, what? So the orthographic camera makes everything look kind of flat, and if I change the size, like to zoom out, okay, it removes perspective. Now maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe that'd be great for a 2D game like Flappy Bird. Well, for a 2D game, yes, and maybe even for this game, but I don't really like the look of it. It doesn't have enough perspective, and it just looks kind of ugly. So we're gonna go back to perspective mode, and then I think it gives us a lot more life and character. And I'm still just not quite happy with these pieces here. I want to get rid of all the stuff here in the middle. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just hold down Shift and get rid of a bunch of these things. I just want to get rid of all this. Oops, and I just deleted my camera on accident. There we go. Okay, undo, Control Z, Command Z. Okay. And just a few more things here. Again, if you know what we're doing here, you can feel free to speed up until we got it all cleaned up here. I just think it's important for you to see the thought process and what I'm doing here. And in later videos, we will not be going over this all so much in depth. So here's your chance to really absorb what we're doing. Okay, almost there. Let's just get rid of this stuff here. Yeah, these bones. You may not want to use these bones because they've got a lot of... They're not mobile optimized. Too many polygons. Okay, we're almost there. Because what I want to do is I want this to kind of be the background, and then I want lava underneath it, okay? Let's get rid of these bones. I want lava flowing under our this little castle looking thing. And so let's go ahead and go to this demo scene, and let's do some more rotations on it. There we go. We're getting really close here. I don't like this archway. As you can see, it's kind of blocking the view of the mouth. So again, I'm going to press W and select this, and then Command or Control Delete. And I think it's starting to come together. I don't like this either. Let's just get rid of these guys here. There's just too many. Okay. This is really cool. So again, we're not going to have the directional light as we talked about before. So right now, this is what it's going to look like in the actual game if you run it, which is not what we want. But we're getting there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add some lava. Okay, so we're going to go to Game Object, and we're going to create a 3D object, and we're going to create a plane. What I'm going to do is just hold down Alt and rotate to see where we are. It's a little bit too high. If we go over here to the right-hand side on the transform and click Reset, it's going to put it at 0, 0, 0. And so this is the 0, 0, 0 plane, and it's kind of where I want to keep everything, is at 0, 0, 0. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this demo scene, which we're going to call, I'm just going to call background. It's our background 3D. And I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And as you can see, our camera is now a little bit too low as well. So I'm going to bring that up as well too. Kind of like this. Perfect. And then I'm just going to make it really big. And there's our lava, right? It's just going across the screen. It's looking real good. And then I'm going to bring it down until it's at a point where it looks like lava, which I think is right here. We need that front platform kind of into it. In fact, we can select our background here and E to rotate. Let's just move it, rotate it downwards a little bit, slightly like this, to have an angle. So no matter where I put it, it kind of digs into the lava, which is what we want. We don't want to see edges. Cool. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a texture on this lava, and then we'll call this video done. So how do we do that? Well, let's go ahead and over here in our assets folder, we're going to create a new folder. So click assets, right click it and go to create folder. And we're going to create a new folder called materials. And in that folder, we're going to right click and go to create. And we're going to create a material. And let's call this material lava. Okay. And we need to select a texture for this. So in the albedo, and by the way, I don't know what albedo means. I probably should have looked it up. Like as far as like the actual word, but we need to select the texture. Okay, and lava is the texture I want for this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this material and just drag it over here onto the lava here. Now, of course, it's way too big. Okay, and I don't like the shadowing either, but that's for later. We'll handle that later. So let's set up some tiling. Let's try 4 and 4. Oops, I did it in the wrong spot. We want to set the tiling up here. 4 and 4. It's still a little too big, so 6 and 6. It's still, I don't know. Let's try 8 and 8. Okay. Per the camera perspective, I think 8 and 8 is really starting to come together. I mean, we could try something crazy like 12 and 12. Well, it's not too bad actually. Let's just do 10 and 10 to meet in the middle here. Okay, so we got some nice tiling on the lava. This is our camera facing here. Of course, the background is blue, but we'll manage that later. And everything's still kind of shiny, which I don't like. But we're gonna call this video done. What we've done so far is we've imported we've chopped up an existing prefab that somebody else made, and we've kind of used it to our advantage. We've adjusted the camera, we've adjusted the positioning of the 3D object. We've turned off the directional light, and we have also turned off the skybox. And while we've turned the directional light back on, as you can see here, we have a little bit more lighting now. And I think it's coming from that material. It's being generated a little bit from there, but that's okay for now. And let's call this video done. Mark Price at devslopes.com, moving on and forward.